78, 2 lines from the top of the page. Neima matnitin lo Rabbi Yossi. So we have the previous discussion in regards to tzitz, the one that the high priest carry top of his head. So we said Neima matnitin, maybe the Mishnah, it's not according to the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. The Tane Rabbi Eliezer omer atzitz meratzeh al achilot, Rabbi Yossi omer en atzitz meratzeh al achilot. So Rabbi Eliezer hold that the tzitz is like front plate that the high priest carried. So if they have an offering that was eaten while they are in a state of ritual impurity, so he said that it's appeases, in our language, it appeases God because the tzitz it's expression of offering that it's overcome those iniquities. And Rabbi Yossi said no, the front plate does not appease God for the impurity of portions of the offering that are supposed to be eaten. So that's basically continuation for those who are not so familiar. Just go back to the previous session and then will be hopefully clear. Which means Rabbi Yeshua hold that you need to have two components in the offering. You need to have the blood and you have to have the meat in order to make the offering properly. So he said, so it means that this Mishnah that said that you can bring an offering, public offering, while they are in a state of impurity, because what so far we said? We said that it's an offering that comes from public. We accept even some people who are in a ritual impurity, in a state of ritual impurity, versus individual that we don't. So he said, no, we don't go this way. Rabbi Yossi hold, according to the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer, that he said blood of an offering is accepted even there is no meat. So later the Gemarrah comment over the shur bread, the shtei lechem. Anyway, so what's the halakha that Rabbi Yossi said it? Ein atzitz meratzeh al achilot. So you mean to say that the front plate does not appease God for the impurity of the portion offering that is supposed to be eaten. So it said, even there's no meat, it's enough to have the blood. So you have to say that this apply to when it's made a pigul meaning that while it's in a process they made mistakes with not focusing on that offering, and they come to bring in a situation that they make a milah meaning that they misuse. So here the Braita expressed that is the machloket between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yossi. It's in regards to the meat that it's ritually impure. So basically it's ready to make disqualify for that pigul, and in regard to make it part of the prohibition of misuse. Rabbi Eliezer savar meratzeh tzitz ilavei umeshavelei. Rabbi Eliezer hold that the tzitz, the front plate, appease God for impurity of the meat that is supposed to be eaten, and it renders like it's pure meat, it's not qualified. So in other words, according to Rabbi Eliezer, it's exclude the meat from the prohibition of misuse a consecrated property. According to Rabbi Yossi, the front plate does not appease God for the impurity of the sacrificial meat, and does not render it like a pure, and therefore sprinkling the blood of the offering does not establish this a pigul, meaning that the misuse or use without the proper kavanah, and does not exclude it from the prohibition of misusing consecrated property. So even they have this sprinkling, but the owner of that offering did not fulfill his obligation. מתקיף לה רב מאיר challenges, and he said, Nei, נעמד רבי יוסי סבר כרב אליעזר בשלב הזבחים. That's applied to the animal offering, that it's a public offering, that we say that even some of the people are ritually impure, they still accepted them. Ikadam. So we have this blood that's sprinkled on the altar, that the front plate is appeased for that. But Omer Nami, Ika Komets, that it's also again, the Komets, the front plate appeased for that. Lechem Apanim Nami, Ika Bazichin, also in the showbread, there are the bowls of the Bazichin, which is permitted bread in the same manner that it's a handful permits a meal offering. So he said, the 2 loaves of bread, so you eat it fully, you eat them totally. So if that's the case, how can they be brought in a state of ritual impurity? That's the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. So he said, this is applied to the 2 loaves that come together with the 2 offering that came for the festival of Shavuot. So you may think that the front plate appease for those 2 loaves. That's applied to the sacrifice of communal peace offering that are mentioned separately in the Mishnah. Now we have 4 different offerings, which is the Omer, we have the 2 loaves, and the public offering, a peace offering that come together with them. We have the 2 loaves of the bread, lechem apanim, the showbread, and we have the offering for the beginning of the month, ve'ana chamisha, and we have here 5, because the Mishnah mentioned that 5 things come while it's a ritual impurity. Like Rabbi Yossi tuma utra betzibur. We also hold that ritual impurity is permitted in a case involving the public, which means that even without front plate, so the 2 loaves remain valid. תניא, אחד זה ואחד זה מזין עליו כל 7 מכל חטאות שהיו שם דברי רב מאיר. So we learn in the Braita that regardless if it's the high priest that served during the Day of Atonement, regardless to the Kohen that burned the red heifer, that they have to have an isolated domain for 7 days. So after the 7 days, you sprinkle on them from all this sin involved with the water that combined with the red heifer, because sometimes it turns that they become ritually impure by contact to the corpse without their knowledge. Rabbi Yossi disagreed, and he said, no, ein mazin alav el השלישי ושביעי בלבד. Only the idea of sprinkling applied to the 3rd day and the 7th day only, and that's beginning the process of the ritual purification. If you say that it's not an issue if it's a public offering, so why you need in the first place to make a sprinkle? So he said, you have to say that the Mishnah is not going to according to Rabbi Yossi. So therefore, if you talk about the showbread, so the tzitz, the front plate, it's not a piece for those foods. So you have to say that this Mishnah is not according to the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. So Rabbi Yossi juxtaposed that to a situation. You have a agreement, signed agreement, that between 2 people that have a disputation in regards to the right over these certain properties. So so if you say that you hold that, you basically go in both ways, in 2 different directions. The Tanya אמר רבי יוסי רואה אני דברי רבי אליעזר בזבחים ורואה אני רבי יהושע בזבחים. So it makes sense, the statement of Rabbi Eliezer with regard to animal offering, and the statement of Rabbi Yeshua also, it makes sense in animal offering. So he said, it's also the same apply to the meal offering. Both of the opinions make sense. So now explaining, Yeah, we understand Rabbi Eliezer by Zvachim, so it come to basar, to meat. שהיה אומר דם אף על פי שאין בשר. So basically, I don't have the time, but Rashi here deal with the statement I explained in my book, ברק, כלומר ברש"י, what does that mean? שטר מזק לבית רעהו. What does that mean and how that apply here? Anyway, רואה אני דברי רבי יהושע בזבחים, שהיה אומר אין דם אין בשר ואין בשר אין דם. If there's no meat, there's no blood, and vice versa. דברי אליעזר מנחות שאומר קומץ אף על פי שאין שם שיריים, ודברי רבי יהושע מנחות שאומר אם אין שם שיריים אין קומץ, אם אין קומץ אין שיריים. So how come one contradict the others? So in a way Rabbi Yossi accepted there's a lot of contradictions between those statements. Amar le mistabra k'amar. He said that it's reasonable how kikai b'zvachim, when we talk about zvachim, amar mistabra kechad v'pliga b'zvachim pliga amar nachot. We understand that since they have a disputation in regard to zvachim, so the animal offerings, they have also disputation in regards to a meal offering. Kai b'mnachot, amar mistabra kechad v'pliga b'mnachot pliga amar b'zvachim. Also the other way around. Amar le hatena kikai b'zvachim. That's clear when we talk about the involving animal offering. Amar, so Rabbi Yossi said, mistabra kechad v'pliga b'zvachim pliga amar b'mnachot. It's reasonable to just disagree with regard to animal offering. They also disagree with regards to a meal offering, because בעיקר קראי ככתבה בזבחים כתיבה. When the Torah used the term ועשית עלותיך בשר ואדם, so that applies specifically to the essential about the animal offering. אלא בת כי קאי במנחות, if you speak about the meal offering, ואמר מסתברא כי אחד הפליגה במנחות פליגנמה בזבחים והעיקר קראי בזבחים ולכתיבה. But the key point that what is written is regard to an animal offering, not a meal offering. So meal offering will not serve as a model for animal offerings. Two different things. It's not contradiction. You have to say that applies specifically for the part that become ritually impure. So when it's then the offering become impure, when he said that he agree, so it's apply with the that's referring to the part that it lost or be burned, which means Rabbi Yossi partially accepted the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. Why Rabbi Yossi said that he accepted Rabbi Eliezer's opinion to do their work? Mishum de meratzei tzitz, because the front plate appeases God for the impurity. But this is impossible. Why? The Hashamat Rabbi Yossi Damar en atzitz meratzei al achilot. So Rabbi Yossi said that the front plate does not appease God for the impurity of the portion of offering that are supposed to be eaten. אלא לא קשיא, רואה דברי רבי אליעזר בציבור ורואה רבי יהושע ביחיד. So it's not a question. I see the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer when it's come to a public. Rabbi Yoshua is the offering when it's individual. Now, בציבור מה איתמה? With regard to offering involved with the public, what's the reason that Rabbi Yossi accept the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer? So in general, we understand that applies specifically to ritual impurity. He says, Mishum de tum'a utra betzibur, because ritual impurity is permitted in case involved the public, as we said many times. So you don't need the front plate to appease for a public offering. The first is because you go by the what you heard in Rabbi Yossi that said that ritual impurity is merely overridden the cases involving in public, and it's not wholly permitted. ועוד אי בציבור רבי אליעזר מכשיר ולא רבי יהושע, but also in applying to the public Rabbi Eliezer who validate the offering and not Rabbi Yoshua. 78b, האמר בציבור אפילו רבי יהושע מודה. Didn't you say that in regards to a public offering that even Rabbi Yoshua agreed that they are valid when the part was ritually impure, was eaten? אלא רואה דברי רבי אליעזר בדיעבד, ורבי יהושע לכתחילה. We said many times that one it's applied after the fact and one is לכתחילה, the way that we wish to. So he said, Di avad afilu Rabbi Yoshua modeu. If it's after the fact, then Rabbi Yoshua agreed that the offering is valid. Why the Ktani, we learn in the 77b, Modeh Rabbi Yoshua Shem Zarak Kurza, that he said if you already sprinkle the blood, so it's already appeased b'diavad, after the fact. So he said, Ha betumah, ha be'avud v'saruf. So he said over there it's speak about ritually impure after the fact. And the other one is speak about the meat that was lost or burned. So Rabbi Yoshua did not concede to Rabbi Eliezer. Ki katane, מודה רבי יהושע שאם זרק קבוצה בנטמע, אבל בעבוד ושרוף לא. וכי כמה רבי יוסי רואה לדברי אליעזר בדיעבד בעבוד ושרוף. So you have to say that if you, when Rabbi Yossi said I'm correct in the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer is after the fact, we see it regard to when it's lost and burned. But Rabbi Yoshua agreed with Rabbi Eliezer that the offering it's appeased and it's kosher. So you see here that you have two different avenues. We go basically by Rashi, it's also avenue of a Tosfot. So according to Rabbi Eliezer, when it's become ritually impure or lost, so you can use it even lechatchila. According to Rabbi Yoshua, so it was lost, then the work is invalid. According to Rabbi Yossi, you follow Rabbi Yoshua, but in regard to meal offering, is more lenient. And he hold that b'diavad, after the fact, this work is accepted. Now, the Mishnah dealing now with individual offering. Nitma basar v'chelev kayam. Chelev, it's not necessarily fat, it's anything that's left on the altar. So Mishnah said if meat of the Paschal lamb become ritually impure, and the fat remains pure and may be burned at the altar. So they said, "Eno zorek et adam," you will not sprinkle the blood on the altar, meaning it's, that's basically what Rabbi Eliezer said. He said, "Nitma achelev habasar kayam," but if you become ritually impure, the fat and the meat is there, it's okay. And he said, "Zorek et adam," right? They sprinkle the blood. ובמקדשים, in other offering, אינו כן, אף על פי שנטמע בשר והחלב קיים, זורק את הדם. And he said, although the meat has become impure and the fat remain pure, one may sprinkle the blood because part of the offering still remain valid. So the Gemarrah said, אמר רב גיל למרב, אם זרק קבוצה. So Rabbi Gil said that if he went ahead and sprinkled the blood, despite the fact that the meat was ritually impure, it's a rutza, it was nonetheless accepted, which means that it's only b'diavad, after the fact, which means that when it's ritually impure, the meat is prohibited and you cannot eat it. So the Gemara said, it's not hold, it's not delayed the atonement. The Torah said clearly in Shmo that you go by according to every man's eating, you shall make the count of the lamb. So they said le mitzvah, that's lechatchila. Or le'akev lo, it's not create any preclude acceptance of the offering, it cannot be eaten. V'atanya b'michsat nefashot, we said it they said clearly that according to the number of the souls, מלמד שאין הפסח לשחט, אלא למנוייו, it teaches that it's only the people who registered. יכול שחטו שלא מנוייו יהיה קובר על המצווה וכשר, תלמוד לומר יש לפי אוכלו. הכתוב שנה עליו לעכב, the Torah said it twice, that it told us that, repeated to one who failure to register precludes the offering from being valid. So the Gemara continue, ויתקח שאוכלים למנויים. We juxtapose those who registered to those who eat it. So therefore, just as a Paschal lamb is disqualified if it's slaughtered for those who did not register for him, it's also disqualified, it cannot be eaten. So he said eating Paschal lamb does not preclude one from fulfilling one obligation to bring an offering, and eating is a separate mitzvah. Hey Rabbi Natan, what type of Rabbi Natan is it? So they said, Ilema ha Rabbi Natan, the Tanya Rabbi Natan, Rabbi Natan, Shkol Yisrael, Utzim Pesach Echad, Talmud Lomar, Shkol Yisrael, Ben Arba'im. If you have sometimes that they cannot have wars, so they use just one and apply to everyone. וכי כל הקהל שוחטים, נתגלים תלמיד, at everyone, ולא אין שוחט אלא אחד, one does for everyone in the חבורה, אלא מלמד, it's come to teach us, שכל ישראל יוצאים בפסח אחד, that everyone fulfill by bringing one Paschal lamb. So Gemara said, no, maybe over there it's different, but because if some of the people continue chazeleane, it's good for certain people, if there are several people got to get kezai to each of them, it's another one involved, another group. ראשוני שיש להם כזית, אוכלים פטורים לעשות נסר שני. The first one, they eat kezait and they exempt from eating the second type. Second type, I meant Paschal lamb, second time. אחרונים שאין להם kezait, the second one, they don't have a amount of kezait, which is very minimum, and אוכלים וחייבים לעשות פסח שני. They have to go for the second chance of bringing Pesach. רבי נתן אומר, רבי נתן disagree, said, אלו ואלו פטורים לעשות פסח השני כשבא לזרק להם. Since you sprinkle the blood, you don't need to go back and do it again in the second chance of bringing Paschal lamb. So the Gemara said, הקל דין משנה אתה די במשך הנכזי, because if they continue the first one, each group be to the second group. So how do you know that Rabbi Natan allowed the Paschal lamb when the meat is not really befitting for consumption? In can because they have enough kezait for even the second group. What does that mean that it's already sprinkled the blood? The fulfillment of the obligation of taking the Paschal lamb depend upon the sprinkle of the blood. But the eating the meat, it's not create any preclusion from that. So that's the reason Rabbi Natan said that since you sprinkle the blood of the Paschal lamb, when people are registered in that, you fulfill this obligation, even it wasn't an option that time to eat that meat. Why Rav was forced to make this Mishnah that if he said that if the meat become ritually impure, he should not sprinkle the blood. That's the formulation of the din lechatchila v'Rabbi Natan. So b'diavad, if he already after the fact did it, so nokma k'rabanan, v'afilu diavad namelo. Maybe you go by the sages, it says even after the fact is not accepted. So if he sprinkled the blood is not accepted the work. Rav matnitin shetei. So Rav have issue with the language of the Mishnah. Amai Tane, why he teach us that if the meat become ritually impure and zorek tadam, which means that even lechatchila we should not sprinkle the blood. Litnei pasul, we should say that it's disqualified elashma mina and zorek lechatchila but b'diavad shafir dami, which means you shouldn't do it lechatchila. But if we did it after the fact, it's okay. So Rabbi Natan, so according to opinion of Rabbi Natan, so he said that the achilat Pesach not me'akevet. So when he used the line ish lo yochlo, according to every man's eating, if he does not teach that eating is essential, so lamali. So what he's come to teach us? He said that ba'inan gavra dechazel achila. So require a person to feed for his eating. So meaning not the impure, not sick person, not elderly person, someone who is befitting to eat that meat. So they go by the rabbinic teaching that if one slaughtered for individual who is able to eat it, and he sprinkled the blood for individual who cannot eat it, the Paschal lamb itself is valid. And a person will fulfill his obligation with it. Keman, with whom this is opinion. Maybe we say that it's afforded to Rabbi Natan, not by the opinion of the sages. If you go by the rabbis, he said that the intent pertaining to those who will eat the offering, disqualify the offering, only if it is occurred during the slaughter, but does not disqualify the offering if it occurs during the sprinkling of the blood. Who is the one the Tana teaches this Braita? If a person was sick while they slaughter the meat, and then when they are about to sprinkle, he was healthy. So he said, חלים בשעת שחיטה וחולה בשעת זריקה, אין שוחטים וזורקים עליו, שיחלים בשעת שחיטה ועד שעת זריקה. You shouldn't sprinkle until he is healthy in both times. Keman, with whom this opinion goes. Maybe you said it's by the sages and not by Rabbi Natan. If you go by the Rabbi, even you said it's according to opinion of Rabbi Natan, we required that the person who is fit for eating, otherwise it can be. So now we go to the third Braita dealing with this. Man Tana le'ad Tanu Rabbanan. Who is the Tana who taught this Braita? So he said, Shchato betahara, if one slaughtered the Paschal lamb in the ritual impurity, and after the fact the owners become ritually impure. So he said, Yizarek adam betahara, the blood should be sprinkled in purity, which means by the Kohen pure and the Klishot, Va'al yachel basar betuma, and the meat should not be eaten in impurity. Keman, to whom? Amar Rabbi Elazar, במחלוקת שנויה ורבי נתן היא. Rabbi Elazar said that the subject is dispute and is taught in the dependent disputation between the two. Rabbi Natan, and we go by the Rabbi Natan that said that they have to be befit in the time of sprinkle the blood to eat from that meat. ורבי יוחנן אמר אפילו תמר רבנני. And you go by the Rabbi Yochanan that said that even you go, and he said that it's follow the sages. So he said, Ha b'mayaskin and betzibur. We're dealing here with the situation of a majority of the public is ritually impure, which is in this case everyone agrees that what? That they perform the ritual of Paschal lamb even in a state of impurity. If you tell me that the case involved in the public, why is the meat is not eaten in a state of impurity? So he said, this is rabbinic decree, because the owner may become impure after the sprinkling of the blood. And they said, people said, people were not so educated, so they said, last year, didn't we become impure, and nevertheless we ate the Paschal lamb. So guess what? Now too we will eat, and they will eat now. Know that the last year when the blood was sprinkled, the owner were already impure. So they said, they don't know that in the past they are ritually impure, and now the owner are pure. So when the blood was sprinkled and become impure only afterward, and the Paschal lamb sacrificed in the state of purity cannot be eaten in a state of impurity, even though everyone is impure. Another option, let's just finish the sugya, 79. The Tani Rabbi Shua Omer, Rav Goba Rabbi Shua said, that's to Sefta. Rabbi Shua Omer, כל הזבחים שבתורה, בין שנטמע בשר וחלב, קיים בין שנטמע בשר וחלב, בין שנטמע חלב ובשר קיים. זורק אדם נזיר ועושה פסח. He said that regardless, all this the offering the Torah, whether the meat become ritually impure and the fat remain pure, or the other way around, so he sprinkled the blood and he make the Paschal lamb. נטמע חלב ובשר קיים זורק את הדם, נטמע בשר וחלב קיים אין זורק את הדם. ואם זרק הוצא. But בדיעבד, if he's already did it, so he sprinkled the blood, it was accepted. נטמעו הבעלים, but if the owner become ritually impure, for example, to touch a corpse and therefore cannot eat the offering. So he said, באמת לא יזרוק, ואם זרק לא הוצא, that even בדיעבד, if he sprinkled, is not accepted. Although a failure to eat the offering does not preclude it from being accepted, that truly applies only when the owner of the offering is personally fit to eat it. So the first one is the Rambam, Ilchot Korban Pesach, chapter 2. If one is too sick to partake the Paschal lamb at the time that it's slaughtered, or when its blood is sprinkled, the offering may not be slaughtered for him, and its blood may not sprinkled for him. One must be healthy from the time of slaughter until the time of sprinkling. Another important halacha, it's shachato betahara. This is the case of Mishneh, Rambam, Ilchot Korbanot, Ilchot Korban Pesach, chapter 7. If the Paschal lamb is slaughtered in ritual purity, and then most of the public became ritually impure after the slaughter, but before the blood is sprinkled, the blood should be sprinkled but the meat may not be eaten due to rabbinic decree. That's the way that Rabbi Yochanan expresses, and again, it's the Kesef Mishnah on the Rambam, Hilchot Korban Pesach, chapter 7.